So to help hopefully solidify the concept of moles, we want to think about moles of some things other than atoms and molecules. Let's pick something really big. Let's take Bill Gates' fortune and ask how many moles of pennies could Bill Gates buy with his personal fortune. Now I looked it up today and I found that to be about $72.9 billion. Definitely a big number. So we want to first take our dollars and convert it into pennies, and then convert our pennies to moles. So we'll start with number of pennies. 72.9 times 10 to the 9th dollars. 72.9 billion dollars. Billion is 10 to the 9th. And we have 100 pennies per dollar. Well, our dollars cancel with our dollars, and we get 72.9. This 100 works out to be 10 squared. That takes my 10 to the 9th and makes it 10 to the 11th. 72.9 times 10 to the 11th pennies. And if I want to make things a little simpler, I can go ahead and take my decimal point, move it 1 to the left, and get 7.29 times 10 to the 12th pennies. That's definitely a lot of pennies. Now we want to convert it to moles. So anytime I convert to moles, I've got 1 mole per 6.022 times 10 to the 23rd things. And in this case, if we want to be a little extra careful, we can say moles of pennies is this many pennies. That then cancels. And I've got 7.29 times 10 to the 12th and 6.022 times 10 to the 23rd. Before we get our calculator out, we can already see 10 to the 23rd is bigger than 10 to the 12th, which means our answer is going to be significantly less than 1. Let's go ahead and get out our calculator here, turn it on. 7.29 E12 divided by 6.02 E23. That gives us 1.21 times 10 to the minus 11th. Definitely less than 1. It's a pretty small number. Now, let's phrase the problem a slightly different way to look at it. Let's ask this question. If I had a mole of pennies and I spent $1 billion a day, how long would my fortune last? $1 billion a day. I could buy a lot with that. So, to solve this, we want to find out how many days it would last. So we're starting with a mole of pennies. 1.0 times 1.0 moles of pennies multiplied by 6.02 times 10 to the 23rd times 10 to the 23rd pennies per mole of pennies, which of course is just going to give me 6.02 times 10 to the 23rd pennies. And now we want to multiply this by, 1 day per 1.00 times 10 to the 11th. That's our 100 billion pennies a day. No, we're spending $1 billion a day, which is equal to 100 billion pennies. And when we go ahead and take, clear, 6.02 times 10 to the 23rd total pennies, we divide that by 1.00 E11, we get a lot of days. 6.02 times 10 to the 12th days. Now, I don't know how to think about 10 to the 12th days, so let's take it and say 1 year is 365 days. And we'll go ahead and then divide that. So we'll take our 6.02 times 10 to the 12th. We'll divide that by 365. And we get 1.6 times 10 to the 10th years. Or 16 billion years. Now this number is something like longer than the age of the universe. So how big is a mole? Well, 1 mole of pennies, smallest unit of currency, spent $1 billion a day would last us for 16 billion years. Gives you a sense for just how big a mole is.